I certainly believe there's a fear of the process and the fear of the unknown and being unequipped, because they don't teach you in school how to start a business.
No, they don't. Yeah.
Right. And many people are good in business. They had an entrepreneurial family member, that kind of taught them business, or they're taking over the family business, because that's where they got the education.
Sure.
They got the confidence. It's a lot of folks like me that didn't have the education or the entrepreneurial family that don't get started because they don't know what to do. I really hope to simplify that. Business is simple.
Ladies and or gentlemen, welcome back to the Progressive Resistance Podcast. I, of course, am your host, Luke Krubeck. Happy to be here, and I'm excited about this episode and very excited to meet with the guest that I have, who I will introduce to you momentarily. Just a reminder for you guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, so that we can get the good word out and continue to spread this message to those that it would also benefit. Podcast can be found on the Luke Krubeck YouTube channel. We've got a playlist for the podcast on there. And then it can also be found on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well, if you just want to listen to it and not look at my ugly face. So that's the general housekeeping for today. And don't forget that album that I put out a little while ago is out there too, also on all the streaming platforms, Ground and Center. So if you want to hear Luke playing the guitar and singing instead of just talking about personal development, you can do that too. Appreciate your guys' support as always, and happy to have you on this ride and this journey. So without further ado, we're going to get into episode 18 here. I would like to introduce my guest here and give just a little background for you. Not too much, because we're going to dive into it and talk about him and let him talk about himself and go down some cool rabbit holes. But my guest today is Brenton G Hayden. I'm including the G man because I just feel like I had to. So he is an accomplished entrepreneur and real estate innovator, I would say, and to the point of rapidly scaled into one of the nation's largest, I think, single family property management companies, if I'm not mistaken. Right. One of the things we'll talk about with Brenton is his pathway that led him to essentially retiring at 27, 28 years old. Yep. So an incredible story, and the man has been through it. It wasn't a straight linear path, like it never is, but he's been evicted. He's had all his own struggles along the way and still managed to retire at 27, which we're going to talk about that. And is he still retired? But excited to learn from him a little bit today and share some of his story. He's won several awards associated to his success, Young Entrepreneur of the Year, and then also just awards for just general leadership and innovation. So the man, the myth, the legend, Brenton G Hayden, thanks for being here, man. Thank you for being the guest today on episode 18.
Thank you, Lucas. It's good to be back in the podcast scene. I was rather excited to be here today.
Yeah, man. And you and I have had a couple conversations leading up to this, and upon the first one that we had, I was like, and I think I even tried to get you on the podcast at that point. I was like, got to have you on the guest as a guest in the podcast. So glad we're making it happen.
You were talking about your album.
Yeah.
That's how we first met. It hit me. Ron Singer and you are in the band.
Yep.
And you were at Blanca Tatanka one night here in Cody. Absolutely rocked the house. People are outside on the streets listening. It was one of my favorite concerts in town. I really took note of Skinny Luke.
Skinny Luke and the Wannabes.
And the Wannabes, yeah. And I know I have come seen you at the Colonel a few times. You're one of the few bands I follow in town.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You'll find me at your concerts.
We actually have a gig this afternoon or this evening. We're playing out at the Boat Club for Rockin' the Reservoir today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys rock, man.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I think when I came to meet you that day, I had that meeting with Jake from Forward Cody and sat down to have a meeting in the mines and solve a few of the world's problems. When I walked in, I was like, man, I know this guy, and I think that's a connection we made. It was through the music. So
shout out Forward Cody. I mean, they're really doing a lot here to try and promote entrepreneurship within our community in Park County, Wyoming.
Absolutely.
And his efforts are what brought us together. He's trying to bring others together with his club and his weekly or his monthly event.
Yep.
I'll be at the next one.
Cool. Yeah, I've been to the two meetings that we've had thus far. working to build out just kind of an entity within that, right? That focuses on and helps build entrepreneurism in Cody and pushing, hence the name of that entity, Forward Cody. But I think the model has been a little busted up to this point to where I think we're focusing too much on outside of Cody bringing it in instead of watering the flowers we currently have.
Exactly.
And so super excited about those conversations that we're having in that setting and just hopefully getting an opportunity for several, pieces of the puzzle of where people are at on that timeline. Because like providing opportunities for people that just have ideas and are like the Kickstarter portion of it. People that have started business or a couple years in and feel like they're spinning their wheels, or people that are 20 years in, they're like, man, I need a reset here. And so I think having those resources,
you don't
those
know what you don't
opportunities-
know. I mean, and you can know a lot and you can be good at business, but there's a lot of things you just won't know or don't know until it happens to you, or you need it, or someone tips you off to it. And there's a lot of gatekeeping in the executive world and business. Oh, I didn't turn my phone off.
It's all right.
And having access to other entrepreneurs in town, respected business leaders, community officials, you name it, offering free advice to teens, to people who want to come here about how to finance a business, how to find a space for lease, what do you got to go through, what permits you need, how to obtain a loan, you name it, how to master your value proposition, how to have some tools to track and understand if your business is going good or bad. These are things that over my career I had to pay to learn. And what Forward Cody's trying to do is make this a community resource and get some local players to help contribute to that. And I'm all about it. I'm glad you are too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great opportunity and happy to be part of that. And then, for me, we've talked a little bit about too in the last two meetings, when we build out this group or get it into maybe a more structured mentorship of some sort. Another piece that needs to be included on that, I think is the personal development side. That's something that's not talked about enough. And so excited to maybe help spearhead that portion of it too, of like, cool, it's great to talk about what your business is doing and what it's not doing, but that may be dramatically impacted by what you're doing or not doing in your own life. So just excited about all the possibilities of that. And then honestly, just the reps of those conversations and to get in those rooms. And I, like you, have and still currently spend a good bit of money on mentorships and things to intentionally get into rooms with people that level me up, people that have been places that I want to be so that I can be more efficient on my own journey. And it kind of comes down to the education discussion of like, you pay for it in time or money. And if I can fast track time a little bit.
Sometimes it's both.
Sometimes it's both. I think it's always both.
It's often both. Because time is money in many cases.
For sure.
Especially for an entrepreneur. That's the hardest thing is stepping away from your business for a 3-day conference. Or to take that 8 hours of training on something new. Or to have those meetings late at night or early in the morning when you still got that work to do. Because there's working in the business and there's working on the business.
Sure.
And then there's working on yourself and working on your work-life balance on top of it.
And I think that's what people sometimes miss is that working on the business is oftentimes working on you. Because if your life or your proverbial house is on fire, you're going to have a hard time.
Many people don't have a business. They're a business. We were kind of talking about that earlier today, and making getting to a point where your business no longer needs you makes it sellable and generally more valuable.
Sure.
But it's not to say it's an inferior business to another. It's just generally it's more valuable when a business can live on beyond its founder. And in the beginning, it's all about you, and you are the business, and that's the best way to help the business, especially if you're good at what you're building. But then over time, it evolves, and it becomes, how do I now keep what I've built to carry on beyond my time here?
100%. And we'll get into this a little bit later too. But I've often, in my own philosophy, have wondered, unless you've gotten to a spot where you're at, and you've got the financial independence to have an easier time starting those businesses without being the face of it, I don't know that you can start a business, especially a small business, without your personal brand somehow being connected to it. I just don't know.
That's
oftentimes
the biggest investment.
Is.
Is if you can't give the cash, you can give all your time and energy and your reputation to it, and eat, sleep, and breathe it, and that'll help kick it off. And that's where many start. And many get started too late. They didn't have it's not the right time. They don't have the money. the business plan isn't perfect.
And
by the way, you don't need any of those to get started.
Mm-hmm.
If you have even a vision, the vision and the passion is really what it's about. If you can see it and you're actually interested in doing it, business is actually not that hard. From like taking a vision to success, it's the hard work that leads to it. But having a good idea, they're in abundance. People, the ability to execute on the idea is where you're going to have to dig deep for purpose and passion. You're going to have fun doing it. And you have a vision, you see where it's going, you can see it in your head, but you haven't built it yet. You can harness those things. Inspiration's perishable. You know, if you can harness inspiration, you can do the work of a week in a weekend.
Yep.
And people who are passionate are also often inspired, and they have a vision and they'll go get it. If you have that part, you can get started in business. And just like we talked about, you throw yourself into it. That's the biggest investment. You throw your time into it, because if it requires time and then eventually money. You know, we were talking about mentorship, entrepreneurs organization. It's a worldwide chapter of people who own a business. And I was a young CEO with a rather large real estate company, and I was looking for mentorship. I was outside my depth. Success was far surpassing my skill sets. And so that group was a group of local entrepreneurs that get together in a very formatted fashion and a very strict club rules. And being in that group, that mentorship group, is one of the top 3 things that changed my trajectory in business. It allowed me to harness my success and go. And what Forward Cody's trying to do is basically a discounted, localized version of that, and I dig it. I think the gatekeeping is going away now with YouTube and influencers and podcasts, but you still have to take the time to listen. And on top of that, go out and be amongst the people too. Be amongst your peers.
Yep.
Find other gym CEOs, for example, and be around them. And me, I try to be around and follow and be in real estate or entrepreneurial groups where I'm talking to CEOs that have the same problems I do, from making payroll to finding purpose and passion again in a business you've been successful for a while, you name it.
Yep.
It's really important that you try to not do it alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's also super important that you don't overthink it. Like we were talking about, you don't need a perfect business plan. I didn't have a business plan. I think business plan and projections and performance is guessing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to do a little guessing or do a little napkin math. But these people who spend their lifetime building the business plan and the performance, you're wasting your time. You really just have to get a little napkin math out and kind of have a vision for how you're going to make money or where you're going to spend it. But business is a lot easier than you think, as long as you're willing to apply yourself, because there's constant challenges. Every day it's something new.
Yep.
Even if you have the perfect business plan, you didn't plan for that.
Right.
And business is about being agile and overcoming challenges every day to continue to grow. And eventually, you know, there's systems that we were going to talk about in Forward Cody called Traction. It's a book by Gino Wickman. It's called the Entrepreneurial Organizational System. It's the second most profound thing I ever did in my career, is implement this in my business. And it's these simple tools that help you organize your vision, understand your values, understand your goals and your scorecard and where you're going, 1 year, 3 year, 10-year target, and how to track or create traction from startup to growth. And then there's a second phase about, you know, rapid or rocket fuel, about now that you have growth and you can track it, how to grow. Bringing those systems into early stage companies, you know, I didn't know about those until 4 or 5 years in my business. And then I was rocket fuel after that, because it's like having a computer without an operating system. And many entrepreneurs are that way when they start. And I encourage you to be that way. Don't wait till you have all these systems and processes in place. But your business does evolve from just being a guy to, we have 20 employees now. We now need to align on a vision, have some tools to track each other's performance and success and where we're going, so we're all rowing in the same direction. But in the beginning, it's just hard work, hustle, and time and energy. So it really is an evolution. I've found now that I have money and I can hire people right out the gate, many times I've tried to use money to jumpstart startup success, and that doesn't really work.
Yeah.
The X factor is you have to, as a founder, you have to be willing to wear all the hats and get your hands dirty in the beginning. And when I started this new business that I've started, I agreed that I'm going to be there for 2 years because I understand that fact. Because I've failed trying to start businesses and just appoint leaders that will just take my vision and implement it. And I realized I had to craft and harness and make sure my vision was clear so then I could articulate it all. So it comes first by you getting in there, wearing all the hats, seeing where this business is going, getting it on a path, and then you can allow somebody to carry it on.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd mentioned rocket fuel. We're 10 minutes in and we're dropping some bombs. So Phil, this is going to be a 5-hour podcast. So
rocket fuel and traction. Traction is one of the, learning the EOS system was one of the most profound things I ever learned. It's a book. You can self-teach it yourself. There are people who will teach it to you. I paid $10,000 for a day for somebody to teach it to me. And I was like, man, $10,000 a day.
yeah,
I've heard so many good things, but like I got paid $10,000 a day to come teach me this. Maybe I should just read the book, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to take their advice. I'm going to try it. She's like, at the end of the day, if you don't think I was worth $10,000, don't pay me. At the end of the meeting, I paid her the $10,000. I was like, I'm going to need you back.
yeah,
And then for a year or two, we kept her on as a consultant, and then we were able to carry on what she taught us on our own as an executive team. But we invested in having that book taught to us.
yeah,
And it was I use it now in every business. I'm using it in my current business. I use it. I require it if I invest in your company that you use this Entrepreneurial Operating System if you don't have one. It's super valuable. It's super simple to learn. And honestly, I believe every business needs it if you're really serious about it.
Cool. Love that. Sweet. Well, man, we've already skimmed some topics that we're going to get to. Love that. If you can't tell, guys, we are caffeinated and ready to roll on these topics.
Keep it going.
He's right. Got to get another lip pillow in there.
Yeah.
All right, man. So we're gonna backtrack just a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your youth, kind of where you grew up, your family, etc. So we can get just like a little bit of origin foundation built on Brenton.
I grew up in farm country, Minnesota, a town called Winstead, and a town of like 1,200 people. My class was like 27 people in my high school. Went to Holy Trinity, a little Catholic school, and I knew from an early age, growing up on a farm, farming wasn't for me. And we had 7 brothers and sisters in that house, and I was the only one who really didn't want to go to the farm and milk cows and pick rocks and run the tractor. I was always more interested in other things, sports and business mostly. And so I knew from a very early age that I looked up to like sports figures and businessmen, right? Those are kind of like, I had pictures of fancy cars and a guy getting out of a Rolls Royce in a suit, and Ken Griffey Jr. on the wall. Like, these are my posters. So I was always motivated by having some power and some prestige and some respect in whether it was sports or business, and some of the perks that come with that, whether it's the nice suit or the watch or the beautiful wife or the big bank account or the yacht or the fancy car, right?
Sure.
So these are things I wanted. So those are part of the big vision. And I actually went to the police academy. I was intending to be a police officer. That was also one of my main, that was probably my first, when you asked a kid what he wanted to be, I always said I wanted to be a police officer or a game warden. In Minnesota, we had a lot of forests and woods, and being a police of the woods, I thought that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I had to pay for the police academy, and that was expensive. And I didn't come from money. 7 kids, split up parents. We had no money, and so Dad couldn't pay for college. So I got a job working at a grocery store and doing stocking the shelves. And I took it seriously, like anything. I was really good at it and probably a good employee. But Kellogg's, the cereal company, noticed me and offered me to come work for them with a company car, a $100,000 salary, and a route to sell cookies and crackers to grocery stores. And I was like, man, I'm 18. Just joined the police academy. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
At the time, 9/11 had happened and recently, and everyone wanted to be a cop, unlike now. And there would be 1,000 applications for 10 jobs. And if you weren't 4 years military, 4 years police academy,
Sure.
you weren't being considered.
Yeah.
And I was going to a 2-year school. And I was like, man, it's going to be hard out there. And then I'm lucky to get $18 an hour or something, or 30 grand a year.
Right.
They're offering me something awesome. I'm going to jump out of police academy and got into sales. And there I had some good leaders at Kellogg's. I had some really great people. And within a year, I took their worst performing route. They gave the young guy the worst performing route, which happened to be an up-and-coming area of Minnesota. And within my first year, I was the top route in the state. And I was sales manager of the year, rookie of the year, broke a bunch of sales records, kicking ass, making bank, hiring my friends to fluff the shelves for me so I don't even need to do it. It was awesome. You got commission off every box of cookies and crackers sold, and you sold them to grocery stores, and they paid for you to have space there.
Yeah.
And you just went around nurturing relationships,
Sure.
Making sure they were taken care of, the shelves looked good, they didn't run out of stuff. And I really learned a lot about sales and a commission lifestyle.
Sure.
And unlimited income based on how hard I'd work. And again, I treated business like sports. So I'd work hard, I'd practice it, I'd research it, I'd come up with gimmicks and ways to sell more.
Yeah.
And so I got hooked on, I was kind of an entrepreneur on my own. I had a route. I had freedom. They gave me petty cash to buy sports tickets for grocery store managers. I could call up the warehouse and say, I need a pallet of Cheez-Its right now, and a truck would show up. It was awesome. And I was young, and I was learning to be a manager, relationship builder. I was making bank. I was getting respected by corporate leaders. I felt I got what I wanted. And then I got fired. I screwed up. We had a policy where if you had expired product, in the back room, you'd give them a credit, and you'd show the manager, hey, I have 10 boxes of Cheez-Its here. They're past due. I owe you for 10 boxes of Cheez-Its. Here's a credit receipt.
Sure.
The manager was gone on lunch, took a long lunch, and I have to wait around before I can go to the next store to get this signature. And I'm feeling myself. I'm trusted. I'm well known. Everybody likes me. No concern to think that if I threw these away without him watching, he would doubt that they were the exact amount that I had told them there were.
Sure.
And so he had a bad day or something and came back and saw me as I'm throwing the last box of Cheez-Its in the trash. And he says, what are you doing? I was like, I was throwing some expireds away. I put a credit on your desk. It's for 10 Cheez-Its. He lost it. He's like, you got to go in the trash and get all those out. Let me see it. And I was feeling myself. I'm like, I'm in a $2,000 suit. I'm not going in the fucking trash.
Yeah.
And he got an attitude. I got an attitude. Little did I know, his dad's the CEO of the grocery chain. And he didn't like my attitude, and I wasn't going in the trash.
Sure.
And he had it out for me. And they got it to the point where they were not going to do business with Kellogg's if they wouldn't let me go. And I was the whiz kid, the star. I was like, I don't think they'll let me go. And push come to shove, they wouldn't let it go, and I had to be let go.
Yeah.
I got a severance fee. I had just upgraded the apartment to penthouse style, new car. I'd only been at this about 2 years.
Yeah.
But I was making bank, and I just upgraded my lifestyle, and now I don't have it. Now I'm fired. And that's when I got evicted from my penthouse a few months later.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand eviction or how that works. Or
Sure.
I was a good tenant. I left. I gave him notice. I was just like, hey, I'm leaving. I got to leave. I can't afford it anymore. Like, you can. I was like, we have to evict you anyway. It's like, well, I'm leaving anyway. I'll leave it. Here's the keys. But I got evicted, and I learned a lot about property management. I really learned that they didn't do that. They didn't handle me well. I was willing to work with them. They weren't willing to work with me. It was really disrespected. I was like young kid in the rich building, and I think they wanted me gone. But I really didn't like this style. And at the time, I was like, I'm going to get into real estate. I think I could be good at this. And I saw a job to get into real estate for a guy, be a salaried buyer's agent. And when I got there, that's all I did for him. Learned real estate through him. He was one of the top agents in Minnesota. I would answer the phones for him. At the time, we'd have these catalogs out there that had all of our properties with a 1-800 number to call to get details. There's pre-Zillow and stuff.
Sure.
And so I answered those phones, and I took leads, and I turned them into buyers. At that time, he was also switching from his own brand, from a big brand to his own brand. And I just found success again, 6 months there. And he was going to a big brand, and he called the meeting. He says, we're all going to go to, or we're leaving this big brand and we're going to start our own. Asked us what we thought. And I was like, I think we should stay here. We're killing it. And I think we should do property management on top of it. He hated both ideas. He didn't like that I wasn't down for his new brand, and he didn't like the idea of property management. At the time, that was beneath real estate agents. And so I got fired again, right there on the spot. You got 10 minutes, get your shit. And I was a rock star for him.
Yeah.
But I, again, played it wrong. I didn't, I was too entrepreneurial. I was too visionary. I was too strong-minded. I really felt convicted and like, we should do this. I'm killing it. Listen to me. I'll do it for you. Mm-hmm. And that was not the role he wanted me to play in his business.
Sure.
Funny story, I ended up buying his business later. Because of the systems he had in place that impressed me 10 years prior.
Yeah.
He had incredible systems. But so I got fired again. And now I decided I'm going to just do this on my own. And really out of desperation. I had to. I'm broke. I'm living on my own at the time. Now I'm evicted. And so I'm having a bit of depression. Like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I make it? I'm killing it and then getting fired. Pretty embarrassed. I'm sleeping in an Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra for a few nights in my buddy's house, and he's got a dump-up apartment for a few nights. So I'm really depressed, and I get out this yellow notebook, and I just start writing what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, what I want, the car. Just, I got nothing to do. I'm bored. I'm showering a cold shower at a Lions Club, and I'm writing 7 pages back to front, just flowing. Never done that before. Almost makes me emotional talking about it. And that changed my life. I knew what I wanted. And for me, when I know what I want, I go fucking get it. I'm good at it. That's why I was good at those jobs. I wanted that commission. So I went and got it. And now that I knew what I wanted, I'm like, I'm going to be in business for myself. I'm going to make $7 million. I'm going to do it by this time. This is exactly how I'm going to fucking do it. And I immediately got started. And I just started leasing homes for people on Craigslist. If you were trying to rent your home out, I'd call them up and say, if I could rent your home out for the same amount, would you pay me a commission? Yeah. And that's where it started. I just called the classifieds ads in the paper and said, I'll put your home on the internet. If I rent it, will you pay me a commission? And everybody said yes. Everybody wanted help. And next thing you know, that's all I was doing. I had a team running around in my car. One guy on a Wi-Fi card uploading photos to the internet, the other one telling me where to go and schedule. And we're renting 50 plus homes a month. And it's just me and a couple kids in a car, and I'm making $50, $100 a month doing this out of my car, being a leasing agent for people as a real estate agent. And and then I started renting $1 million homes. And an article got written about me and called me the $1 million manager. And that's when I decided I'm going to start my own business. And we wanted to become a Zillow-like website for rental properties. So we called it Renter's Warehouse. And that was my first business venture on my own. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that in a little bit, but that had gangbuster success. And that led to me selling that business to private equity and retiring at 27, just like my plan said. Actually, it was 28. I was on a vacation, and I talk about this in that article I sent you. But I was on a vacation, working my butt off on vacation, and my wife got mad at me, and she's like, it reminds me of my plan that I always talked about. Retire at 27 when you hit 7 million. And I had done it, and I was 27, and I have 7 million. Why haven't I done it? It kind of hit me that I hit it. I can do it. And so I spent the next year, we talked about this earlier, leaving my business, installing a CEO, and proving to the world that it wasn't just me, that this business is great and will live on without me. And then once I did prove that for a year, I sold it to private equity. We had 60 offers. Every real estate company was trying to buy us. We were the golden child. We were one of the biggest property manager, professional landlord services in America. We were franchisable. We were one of the 10-time Inc. 500 fastest growing businesses in America. We were booming. And I was also burning out.
Sure.
And the business was getting bigger, and we needed to go to like level 10 now, and raise 50 million to become, the next big thing and go public.
Sure.
And that was not something I wanted to do or thought I was capable of doing. And And so I listed my business for sale, got a tremendous amount of interest, and sold in 2015, and haven't worked since until April of last year.
Man, your story is wild and inspiring. Gets me excited about my own journey. I love that story that made you emotional. Of like, you didn't realize it, but you were just doing like the vivid vision process. You were brain dumping, and you were creating that vision board verbally on those sheets of paper. And it's that like manifestation is a real thing when you put action to it.
Yeah.
And when you make when the rubber hits the road. And so like you are the poster child of that making sense and working. And if you can have the courage to bet on yourself, and I love that a piece of that too is also like, what are the things that I'm good at? What are the things that I'm not good at? And taking that inventory of like, what skills or tools do I need to establish or move through? And every story you've told at every position you've been in, there's been that learning curve of like, oh, cool, yeah. I have some things I need to acquire to excel here, and the willingness to be able to do that and be part of that education process and that trial and error, and just honestly some of the messy action that is needed to just move forward. Because like you said, you don't need the perfect business model. There will never be the perfect time. And time is this limited resource. We have a finite amount of heartbeats. So like, stop waiting. Like, figure out what you want, and you did that. You knew what you wanted, and then you just started moving towards it. And so I love that.
Inspiration is perishable.
Yeah.
If you're inspired, that's what you really need.
Yep.
It's not always about passion, but sometimes you just have that inspiration, that aha moment, and try to think outside your head for a moment. Like, I'm inspired. I just got something here. And to grab that. Several times in my career, I had that. And I was able to like articulate it, write it down, get out the notebook. Yeah. I used to have a waterproof notepad in my shower when I was the CEO of of Renter's Warehouse. And I gave one to my president because we both would come in the morning like, I was in the shower, man, I thought of this. And I always wanted a way to write it down. At the time, those iPhones weren't waterproof. But it was very important that I really helped my team and myself understand, when you're feeling inspired, stop for a fucking second. Write that down. Think about it. Run it through. Give it 5 minutes. If it's truly inspiration, grab it. Because it's perishable, it'll go away. You'll forget about it. You won't not do it. I used to have a folder on my desk, and it was my inspiration folder. Not everything did I act on, but I always capture every time I felt inspired. I just wrote it down, ran with it, had a flow of vision about it, and then I tucked it in a folder. And if I was ever feeling in a drought or didn't know what to do next, I started going through it. But many times some of those would just grab you and like, I got to do this. Yeah. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it tonight. And you just get it done. And that is super powerful. In my as I'm trying to go forward in my new business, I got back into it because I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
But I'm not inspired and passionate. But I have this other X factor. I have money to put into it, and but it's missing something. It's missing my inspiration and passion, and I'm trying to refine that again in this business and the why, and to have something super exciting about it. And in the early stages, it's really hard when you don't have that. You know, when I bought a franchise, so there's a built-in vision and a plan. But I like to make things my own, and right now I haven't been able to take this really great legacy brand and make it my own because I'm lacking that. And that's what's different now about some of my businesses that I've gotten into is when I invest in other people's, it's not often that I'm passionate about it. It's good. It looks good on paper, right? And there's a good ability, there's a good person there to execute it. Having been retired a long time, I want to find passion and purpose again in business, but I also know that maybe some of the things that I am passionate and interested in are outside my financial reach at the moment. So I'm going to utilize my skills of being great at something to create that opportunity financially so I can go and get to the next stage of my life, is to actually have a business I'm truly inspired and passionate about and have some great brand new ideas for, which is about, I want to be in the sports business. I want to own a baseball team, a minor league baseball team, and make it great again.
Yeah.
And do some real estate development with it now. Baseball, the business of baseball is a lot about real estate now.
Yeah.
The stadium, in many cases, is the biggest part of their balance sheet. And then, advertising and TV rights, right? Yep. That's where it's changed. It's not ticket sales and hot dogs anymore.
Right.
And so I really have some big plans to do some new things in baseball and real estate together. But I need to get to that next level to be able to get into the next thing I'm passionate about, because my goals have changed.
Sure. Yeah, I love that, and that, what a wonderful lesson for everyone listening, and even for me. This reminder of, like, to your point, inspiration is fleeting. Inspiration doesn't last, and I have the same conversation with motivation, right? I'm like, motivation isn't what gets it done. Inspiration isn't either, but it's when you can capture that inspiration. And you talk about writing these things down, man. And about, like, the yellow pads of, like, legal notebooks or whatever, right? I managed a gym years ago, and I still have it. I just, like, brain dumped pages of, like, because I had come in to manage this gym, and it was a little bit of a shit show from previous management. There was a lot of things that fall through the cracks, and, like, for the first few months when I was working there, it was just getting things organized of, like, who actually had a membership, who was actually paying, and just getting all that organized. And then from there, I was like, I was building out this, what is the customer journey? Like, what's our protocol? Like, when people come in, how does this work? How do we do renewals? How do we follow through? And I was doing that years ago, and I still have that notebook. Mm-hmm. And those are things that I use in my own business model today. And I have other, again, on yellow page notebooks of, like, me brain dumping of everything that I wanted the barbell club to have someday. Yep. And at the time, I didn't know it was going to be called the barbell club, but it was like, what do I want my future gym to have? Mm-hmm. Everything that's on that piece of paper is in existence right now.
And that's the business plan.
That's the business plan.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be some prestigious 20-page PowerPoint.
Yeah.
It can be scribbles and napkins.
Yeah, but capture it. Capture that inspiration.
Write it down.
Right?
Yep.
And there's value in writing it.
What you stand for, what you stand against, what it looks like, what things you're going to have, what makes you unique.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
Yep.
What do I need to get out of it? What am I going to charge? That's, like, it can be a napkin. It can be a one page.
Yep.
That's the extent of business planning. And if you have the inspiration with that together, and you're willing to just get started, you'll have a very good chance of success. Many people suck at business. Many of them don't like what they're doing when they're in business as well. If you have some of these X factors, I think it's really easy to be successful in business. Do what you say you're going to do. Answer the phone.
Yeah. And
deliver value. Actually, like, have a value proposition. Like, there's real value in what I'm offering you, and being able to articulate that. If you do one of those things, you're going to be better than most business. You do two of those things, you're going to be good. You do all three of those things. I literally think if you do all three of those things, you're going to be great. Now it's just down to your ability to execute on it, to actually make that true.
Yep.
Right. That's it. It really can be boiled down to that.
Follow through and discipline. And I think, you're even at a spot where, even with the success you've had, the things that are next on that vision board for you, you're not quite there. And so you've got to have the discipline to stay put in something that maybe doesn't really, doesn't really drive you. And maybe
it's a stepping stone.
Isn't necessarily your passion, but it's a stepping stone, and having the discipline to go, hey, like, I'm staying in on this. And I have that disciplined conversation all the time.
I didn't start this business. I invested in this business.
Sure.
Other businesses I've started.
Yeah.
I bought these franchises to become, I wanted investment grade real estate franchises. And what I mean by investment grade is that they don't need me. They produce passive income, and I can own these, finance these, install managers, and these are my investments. And I'm utilizing skills that I have, which make me a good real estate business operator. And I'm going to invest in real estate businesses, put some of my time in the beginning, and then they'll become investments for me while I am in pursuit of that business I'm going to start or found or buy. To me, this business I'm in now is truly investment grade. That's what the point of it is. I don't talk about how I founded this one. I didn't. I bought a franchise, and I'm trying to turn it into an investment grade franchise real estate brokerage.
Sure.
But it's there to help me get to that stepping stone. It's a tool in my toolbox to help me buy that baseball team and to build that real estate development around it.
Yeah.
But again, there's my vision. I have it. It's to own a baseball team and to do a real estate development around it so you can live at the stadium.
Sure.
That's the vision for me in minor league baseball. I have it. I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
and I got a plan to get there. I'm doing this to get there.
Yeah. Cool. I want to circle back a little bit to when you exited on the first company that and that's what's wild. You had this journey, but the first company that you went in all in on you on is the one that brought you to that opportunity
My best home run,
of retirement at 27. Was it 27, 28? Which was it?
28.
28. So at 28 years old. So the first question.
That's when I sold and quit.
Yeah.
27 is when I left the business and installed somebody to run
in order
it
for that timeline, right?
An hour and a half a week.
Yep. Those are the two questions I have. The first one, because everyone's listening to this is wondering, what did you sell for?
What did I sell the business for? $31 million.
And you and I had a conversation yesterday that we should have just recorded because it would have worked perfect for this podcast. But you had talked to me about one of the decisions you had made on selling was keeping a percentage.
Yeah.
And that's something that hindsight you wished you hadn't done. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So I sold 68%. And we were making almost $5 million a year in free cash flow, and I was paying myself handsomely on top of that. But I was burnt out, and I had the money in the bank that I wanted, and now I was going to get this new money. I wanted that 31 million is a lot of money, but it's not FU money.
Yeah.
And it's not money that just creates an insane amount of money on it where you just live off of it. It does create a very good dividend. I live off of that income and interest now currently. But that's what, and it creates that it preserves that money for my family, and I have this income coming in that I don't have to spend my money. I just live off the interest and income. So I got what I want as long as I don't screw that up. Mm-hmm. So I decided to keep 32% as a double down, a parlay.
Sure.
Remember, the plan was my business was booming. Bring in an investment bank and take me public. That was the plan. Let's borrow 20 million from PE, expand, acquire, go public. PE firm was supposed to do that. I kept 32% to do that, to ride that, hitch my wagon to their train now.
Sure.
And when we went public, it was worth about $50 million 2 or 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Now it's worth $200,000, my stock. And I was really banking on that to come in at maybe it's at least maybe just another 10 million, but the 40 or 50 would have given me everything I would have wanted. Mm-hmm. And it's now down, it's gone, it's zero.
Do you still have that? You still have that percentage?
I still have millions.
Or did you
millions
get rid of
of
it
shares in my own company?
Okay.
We've been delisted, taken off the NASDAQ, and the private equity group had too much debt, and they went bankrupt on their senior lender, and all my stock had been bankrupted and sold to the largest real estate company in Japan last year, and I'm out. I'm out of the business. My stock has been zeroed. What I have left, though, is we have this shell company that was once public, and our ticker symbol is SFR, like single family rental. And I have 4.8 million shares of it in a shell company that's worth like 0.002 cents. Somebody will want that shell. There's a thing in business called a reverse merger IPO where you buy a publicly traded entity that's defunct but still active, and then you roll your business into it, and you can go public quicker and cheaper.
Yeah.
But you got to buy the shell.
The skeleton's there.
And you got to buy out the stock.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping one day I'll give someone to give me $250,000 for my shell and my shares in it. But it's probably zero.
Yeah.
Honestly. So that left me. I always said when that happened, I was going to get a villa in Italy and a plane to get me back and forth and have my baseball team.
Yeah.
And not put my legacy money at risk.
Sure.
The money I want to leave to my estate, the money I live off of for interest and income, so I don't ever have to work again if I don't want to.
Yeah.
It didn't come through, turned to zero.
Yeah.
So I still got money, but my plan screwed up. Mm-hmm. I don't want to spend that money. I want to live off that money. And so recently I decided to take a little bit of that money, about 10% of that portfolio, and invest in myself instead of just stocks, bonds, munis, ETFs, et cetera, structured notes. I'm into some of the best returns I've ever got are on myself. So I'm going to take a portion of that money and I'm going to invest in myself, whether I buy a business or start businesses. I'm going to create a stream of income with that portion of my portfolio as investment grade businesses in pursuit of growing my income and my wealth so I can buy the baseball team and do a $50 million real estate development around it.
Yeah. When you took that year between 27, 28 and before your exit, it was intentional to be like, hey, I've got to remove myself from this so that it makes sense for me to exit.
Yeah.
How hard was that for you? How hard was it? Was that a challenge for you to let go of the reins and to bring that in? And like, because this is this thing you had built from scratch. Were there any stressors for that? Can you take me through that process and the struggles or lack thereof that perhaps you felt?
That EOS program I talked about, Traction, had me prepared. I had a group of executives now. We had a big business, 200 plus employees. We had an executive team, and I had a president, and I had the year prior to that elevated myself to like a true CEO role where I'm really just doing the things I need to work on. I don't have a hat, which is really where I think a CEO hopes to get to, is where you can just work on the business, be a visionary for it, be a face of it, and have your people execute your vision. So in EOS, there's a visionary and an integrator, and oftentimes founders are both. Mm-hmm. A visionary is the guy with the idea, and the integrator is the guy that helps get it done. I had a good integrator. His name was Kevin. He was my president. So it was actually rather easy because, one, I was burnt out. Two, I was going to play the game to change my residency because I was planning to sell from Minnesota, which had 12% tax plus capital gains on my sale, to become a Florida resident. So I hired a consulting firm, a very big company called Ernst & Young, to do my audited financials, but to also help me change my residency and have a tax-efficient sale of my business in the future.
So you were able to avoid capital gains with that?
No, I was able to avoid a significant amount of Minnesota taxes.
Okay.
And by preparing for the sale of my business, which was a Minnesota headquartered business, by being the resident of another state. It saved me several $1 million.
Okay.
But I paid advisors to teach me how to properly do this. And one of them was, hey, you need to move to Miami, go buy a house, and walk away from the business for a while. And I was like, I can do that. I'm tired and burnt out, and I got a president. So it actually was kind of like nice, because I was thinking also at the time, maybe that's just what I'll do. I'll just leave it like this and keep my $5 million a year. You know, looking back, I should have done that. The market was changing. And as somebody who's really successful in real estate, timing is something, if you can harness it, if you see an opportunity to get good timing, do it. You need it in real estate. And I started in 2006 when everybody was underwater and needed to do short sales, and foreclosures were everywhere. Yep. The economy was in bad shape. And so they would turn, if instead of losing their house, they would turn to me to rent it out and ride out the bad economy. They would move out of their home, rent the house out, make a cash flow, 5 years later sell it, and call me in tears. Thank you. I was going to let my house go. Yeah. Now I made $250,000 on the house I was going to give away, and I didn't have to do anything for the last 5 years. You managed it for me. So we harnessed the timing. People needed us then, and we became a property management, a professional landlord for hire. Sure. We reinvented property management. We made it easy for not your regular landlords to be landlords. Mm-hmm. So we harnessed timing. 2013, 2014, the market was changing, and all my clients were like, my house is worth so much. You've done such a good job. I've rented it for 10 years. We've made so much cash flow. It's worth so much. And I had like 0.1% of a churn rate. I never lost customers. All of a sudden I'm losing 1% a month. And when we're still growing, but I'm losing. Yeah. And I'm not losing them of customer service. I'm losing them because they've done so well. They want to sell. Oh. They want to sell that property that I have a contract to manage, and maybe buy something else or just move on. They've had a home run. Yeah. So I forget what I was going with that, but timing was imperfect, and I felt the market was turning down, and in my head I was like, I'm capturing timing. My books still look great, and we're growing, but I sense a recession coming for my business. Yeah. And I probably was right, because the private equity group had a hell of a time running it after I left. Sure. They ran it right into the fucking ground. Yeah, it's probably twofold, right? It's probably like fast as possible. They sucked at business.
It's probably the timing maybe of things in the market, but probably less about that, more just about
Yeah. Let me give a shout out to the worst private equity group in the world, Northern Pacific Group in Wayzata, Minnesota. Disgusting operators of businesses. I regret selling to them full-heartedly. They ran my business completely in the ground. Avoid them at all costs.
Was that hard to watch? Like after you had exited, because you had poured so much into it?
It was super emotional. I'm pretty stoic in board meetings, and I was getting loud. I was getting mad. No one's listening to me. You're doing it wrong. And in the room, they're all looking at me like he's a stupid SOB. And I'm looking around and saying, these guys are stupid.
Yeah.
And they're looking at me the same way. We just did not vibe. We did not get together. They didn't listen to a thing I said, and I didn't like a thing they said. We were polar opposites, polar views and vision. They made so many mistakes, in my opinion, that couldn't be reversed, and they ran themselves right into the ground. It was one of my biggest regrets is choosing them over somebody else.
Yeah.
I chose a local private equity group over the top bid. I thought it was a culture fit. Yeah. And it wasn't. I got it wrong, and I never get those wrong. It's weird. I've gotten a few things wrong that are surprising to me. Picking the private equity group, I was brilliant at creating a team and hiring people and seeing the real value of them and bringing them into my business. I rarely had to fire anybody or anybody ever left my company. We won workplace awards. I was really good at reading people, hiring people that were like-minded and bringing them into my fold. And then I screwed that up. And then I made millions of dollars for people in real estate, buying and holding investments. But some of the worst investments I had are the homes I bought for myself. Yeah. But the homes I bought for everybody else, absolutely home runned it. But the stuff I would buy, when I would go big on myself on a home or an apartment building or a complex, I got it wrong. I would get my own stuff wrong sometimes, but for others, I excelled. So I've really become self-conscious of that now when I buy my own real estate. Yeah, that I'm tired of screwing up my own deals and getting everybody else a great deal.
So what do you think causes that?
It's I think when you buy your own home that you're going to live in, you don't look at it properly like an investment. And some of the homes I bought for myself were not good investments.
You're not looking at it as much from
but
the
anything I looked
resale.
at truly as an investment that wasn't my home, I did great on. But anything that was my home, I've not done well on. Yeah. Yeah. I think I like homes that people don't like or are hard to sell. Yeah. I like unique things, one-of-kind things, and not your traditional things. Especially in a market like Wyoming, right? I'd be the guy that has that modern home. Yeah, right. That nobody wants and thinks is an eyesore. But that, to me, is what I want.
Yeah, you and I might be the...
And then I'll build it for $4 million and sell it for $3 million. And that's just how those go for me.
Yeah. I would have a similar sentiment to that. We might be two birds of the same feather there. But, that's interesting. So in this journey, in the story that you've told thus far, I didn't hear much about like secondary formal education. Yeah. So, one of the questions I had is how important do you think traditional secondary education is in financial or business success? I have my own opinions on that, but I'm curious to what your take is, because it doesn't sound like that was a big piece of your puzzle that you were putting together.
It was.
Was it?
Yeah. I did not go to college out of high school. I went to the police academy. Then I got the School of Hard Knocks of sales, selling cookies and crackers. And then I went into business and had great success really quickly. And I think it was 24, my business was booming. And I was starting to feel a little inadequate as its leader. Okay. And so I was sort of involved in politics. I have a story about that later. But back, not as a politician, but supporting politicians, promoting initiatives, things like that. So I was real friendly, and at Kellogg's, I was a superstar, if you recall. And the CEO there was named Carlos Gutierrez, who became Barack Obama's Secretary of Commerce. And he loved me. And we went into, I wanted to get into school, I wanted to go learn about entrepreneurship and business development. And I got turned on to this program called Emerging Giants. And if your business had $2 million of sales and you've been in your X age and you have no formal education and you have these great references, you can submit an application. And I got accepted right away to MIT. to the Sloan School of Management for this Emerging Giants entrepreneurial development program. And I went and did that, and it was life-changing. Professors were billionaire entrepreneurs teaching classes. Everyone's there, very entrepreneurial from all around the world. The connections I made were awesome. We were there to build a business and development. It's drinking from a fire hose education for busy executives. And it's a program that you go to for 8-10 hours a day, and you go back to your business and come back and go back and forth. So I ended up getting a certificate, an executive certificate in entrepreneurial development from there. And then I took that further and went to Harvard Business School and got a real estate development certificate as an executive as well.
Was that a similar model?
It's the next level from that program in the Emerging Giants program.
But it was only with people that were already functioning in business and doing all that?
Yes.
So it sounds, I mean, to me, like you didn't describe college or secondary education. Yeah, it's not traditional at all.
No, this was
it was a mentorship group.
I paid for it.
You had
to qualify to get into it.
Sure.
But then when you were there, everyone is just like you, just as cool, just as smart, just as business focused, and they're from all over the world. They only had 30 in the United States and 70 from around the world in a class of 100. And so I have worldwide connections that I walked away from that.
I bet.
And MIT really was profound. Harvard was very difficult and book study. MIT I loved, absolutely loved it. Harvard was very challenging and didn't walk away with as much. And that I did real estate development there, commercial real estate development. And that's what I'm doing now. So now I'm trying to do commercial real estate. I help people buy and sell businesses, and I do luxury real estate, farm and ranch and sales, and I own RE/MAX commercial and residential real estate brokerages in Wyoming. But what I wanted to do here when I came here is bring that expertise I have in commercial real estate and entrepreneurship, put them together, okay, and bring a business, a world-class brand to my new home, which is out here in Wyoming. And there isn't a major commercial brokerage. There isn't people people buy and sell businesses, and I have that expertise and that education. And so I'm using it. So while I didn't have as much fun at Harvard, I really did get some good education from it. But those are things I did later in life after I needed it. A lot of people go and they get this degree, but they're studying astronomy, but they're an accountant.
Yeah.
They got to do all these credits and stuff. I like the trade school kind of approach, or like the executive education style approach, where maybe you're an executive and you want to be a master at marketing. Well, go take executive level courses at Ivy League schools and get these certificates, which only focuses on the study that you want.
Yeah.
And you're not doing other stuff.
Yeah.
So that I think is to always keep learning and to always keep an open mind is important. I'm constantly learning. I'm having to knock the dust off of a 11-year retirement and all the tech that's changed and everything that's changed in business. It's a very different time to be a CEO now.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with you. I think constantly being a student and being willing to be vulnerable enough to be like, you know what, I don't have this all figured out, and willing to put yourselves in some rooms like that, I think is
easier to do now with ChatGPT.
Well,
you don't have to look dumb in front of another CEO asking a dumb question. You can now ask.
Yeah, but man, there's value. I still think there's value in
Facts.
that. And
networking and connections and relationships is an X factor.
In fact, in 2 weeks, I'm heading to one kind of an in-person mastermind, but it's like a hot seat mentorship thing where it's business owners only. And in fact, to your point of like, having those conversations with other gym CEOs, whatever you are, have those conversations, have those relationships. I'm actually driving. It's up in Kalispell. I'm driving with 2 other gym owners.
Nice.
From Sheridan that I know. And
the nuggets in that car ride, man.
Dude,
there's
going to be as much value there in that 9-hour car drive as there is anything else.
EO would do this thing where we'd have these really serious meetings monthly, but we had a yearly retreat.
Yeah.
And inside this group, we had things called forums where we had 7 or 8 of us they met weekly or more often, and that was our intimate peer-to-peer CEO group.
Sure.
Some guys are billion-dollar company CEOs, and there's a little of me in there, but there's 7 of us, and we had this very regimented meeting where we get open and we talk about what's going well and bad in our business, and we get advice from each other, and it's super confidential. But then every year they go on a retreat, and we go somewhere fancy, and we would spend real time now with those 7 people in our forum group, and those things were incredibly invaluable.
Yeah.
Staying in under the roof on a beach in Mexico with 6 other CEOs where we're required to unplug according to the EO rules and just be around other business owners like each other. The nuggets and the things that we would do together, the businesses we'd build, the problems we'd solve, the personal problems we'd solve for people. Guys would come in and they're like, I'm not going to make payroll, and he's $1 billion company.
Yeah.
And he's in tears, and his wife's going to leave him, and like we're talking about real stuff that affects him. Sure. You would think it's not just about here's my problem with this program or product.
Yeah, right.
We're talking. This guy's. What do I do?
Yeah.
How do I got a week.
Yeah.
Before this is public news.
Yep.
And now you have 7 other CEOs with their connections. We're going to solve this for you, brother. We got you back. Let's help, and we help each other. That was it's really a profound group. It's cool. A worldwide chapter. I'm not sure what the Wyoming chapter looks like. Another one's called the Young Presidents Organization, YPO. Those are some really world-class groups where you can get some world-class networking and relationship building and advice and mentorship while also mentoring.
Yeah, I just think that investment of time and money into said mentorship groups, no matter where you're at, right? The things you're talking about are at a much larger scale, but like for anybody, like finding those rooms to get in that challenge you and that can help you be more efficient. It's like in my own experience for the mentorship groups that I'm currently part of, it's priceless. I haven't missed a cent of the money that I put into it. In fact, I would guarantee that I've made more money because of that said investment. So there's so much value there.
It's never a good feeling to feel uncomfortable in business, but I also get now more uncomfortable when I'm comfortable.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because when I'm comfortable, I've probably stopped growing. I've maybe gotten lazy. I think I maybe have got the wrong mindset. Like I've got it all figured out.
You almost get used to it. It's an interesting thing. Like even for me in 5.5 years, I've noticed that like when I feel like my back's against the wall a little bit, is when the best version of me can kind of show up.
That's so friggin' on point, brother. That's the thing I'm missing now. When you don't have money and you're desperate and you need something to happen and you're inspired. That's what was me in my started Renter's Warehouse. Now I'm not desperate. I don't have that need that I have to feed my family style need.
So you have to create it in other ways.
Yeah, and you end up getting lazy and you throw money at it, or you try to think you're smart. I'm just going to do this differently. It's still the same old process: hard work, sweat and tears, uncomfortableness. And it took me a while and some failures after to realize that when I was at Renter's Warehouse, I had started several others and invested in several others. And I learned a lot through that. Now that I've been gone and retired, many of those businesses I invested 10 years ago are IPO'd, bankrupted, still around, whatever, right? But I learned a lot through that. And that takeaway was you can't throw gas on the fire to get more growth. It's temporary.
Yeah.
You can't replace that hustle and grind that you did in the beginning.
Yeah.
Those remain constants.
I almost wonder too, and I again, it's a huge relativity scale, but I had a conversation with a gentleman that he reached out to me. He's a member, but he reached out to me asking if there was a time where he and I could sit down for an hour and he wanted to run a business idea by me. And at first I was like, why am I the guy? But I guess, if I can zoom out, I'm like, well, I have a business and I made it happen. I had a dream and I had the rubber meet the road. I had some messy action and I'm making it work, right? So I set up the time, but that conversation, I gave him some insights that were things that were not even on his radar that were valuable for him, but it was valuable for me because it reminded me of some of the same struggles that I was facing when I was starting. And it kept me connected to like this reminder of where I started and where I came from and why I even did it.
Yeah, and you're not alone in the journey, similar for others. And
that's it right there, man. It's just sometimes, if nothing else, those mentorships are nice to know that just like, oh, cool. It's normal that I just want to burn it all to the fucking ground like once a quarter. Yeah. Cool. Like that's normal. Okay. Awesome. Like there's a little bit of like peace and solace in that. Of
finding humor in it too.
Yeah.
I still think I need to write you ever see those books, Chicken Noodle Soup for the Soul?
Yeah.
And then they have
for sure.
For property manager soul.
Yeah.
I have so many landlording stories, that ruined my day. Yeah. My week at times, but now are like stories of my history and my past and also like great anecdotal stories for a book, and it gives people perspective, right? It gives people confidence. Talking to other people that are peers to you in business, like entrepreneurship, it's a club.
Yeah.
It's not many people own their own business, and there's a lot to be shared, and networking and relationship building is important with other entrepreneurs if you're going to be one.
Yeah. And that might be a perfect segue into one of the topics I want to touch on with you, which is, just this inevitable understanding that there's going to be some extreme challenges and problem solving in this. And, one of the things
it's not if, but when.
Yeah, exactly. And I shared something when I spoke at the mastermind we put on beginning of June, and I was sharing this idea that, there's all these things that are said, these cliche sayings, right? And one of them is, more money, more problems. And I said, but what's interesting about that is I've never heard that come out of someone's mouth who actually had money. And so for me, and I've also come to this conclusion that I think that's backwards. I think it's more problems, more money, because what I've realized in my own journey in business ownership is like the better I can get at solving problems, the more potential money I can make and the more success I can have, right? So it's not more money, more problems. Yeah, no, sure, yeah. Your problems are different when you sell a company for $35 million.
That's so hit right there.
Right? They're different, but
you make money solving challenges in business, overcoming obstacles.
Yeah, and so like it's this discipline, through adversity. That's what we call the mastermind, right? And this understanding that adversity in your life, in your business, in anything, not only is it going to happen as a promise, but it's also necessary. That one of the shirts I printed recently at the Barber Club, in my hand script on the back said, "This is why we're here." It's this reminder that like both in the gym and out of the gym, it's supposed to be challenging. Like that's the point. If it doesn't challenge us, it doesn't change us. So this thing like when people throwing up their hands like, it's always something. I'm like, yeah, bro. Like that's the point. So like be ready for that. Be prepared for that.
Something, you can handle it better next time.
Yeah.
You're stronger. You're more wise. You're hardened.
And that's where we learn.
You're probably richer.
Yeah.
The more problems you solve, the more challenges you go through, the stronger, the wealthier, the fitter, the wiser.
All those things.
You become. And I think that's what makes me dangerous now in business is
You've had those failures.
Stories, bro. We could have a 10-hour podcast today, just stop chopping it up. But all of that has, at the time, they feel tough and they ruin your day and they wear on you. But, having had some time to recharge, it's like, man, I'm dangerous now. I sure know a lot. I sure know a lot of not what to do.
Yeah.
Right? And what to avoid, because I've made some things. And I also know a lot of things about what I should do and some processes that can be repeated and systems that can be repeated and looking for ways to apply it. I think absolutely right. Just like in the gym, the more challenges and the pain and the push you push into it, the better the results, right? And same in business.
Yeah.
I remember that EOS system helps you track. We have a system on there called Identify, Discuss, and Solve, and it's our issue board. And anybody who has an issue that requires groupthink, we put it on the issue board, and we have a proven process to go around and talk about it. In the beginning, in your business, you have all these issues, and there's always issues on the issue board. You can't even tackle them all in a meeting.
Sure.
And they carry on quarterly, yearly, until they're solved. And then you look back at the end of the year, and you're like, look at all those problems I solved, man. And then as you get into this 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, you're like, man, my issue board has been light, right? You start to really solve a lot of issues and put systems and processes in place where it gets easier.
Yeah, it solves them before they become a big problem, right?
In the beginning, it's all that. It's all refining and problem solving and challenges and obstacles and hurdles and next levels this, next level that, until it smooths out. There is a green grass at the end of that uphill climb, And then there's another one if you want to keep going, right? There's levels to this shit. But you can push through to a level that's comfortable, and then you can say, I'm going to get uncomfortable again and go to the next one. And that was kind of where I was at in my business. I had kind of come up a couple levels, and the next one's go public, raise $50 million, bring in partners. I was like, I don't want to climb that climb. I'm tired already. I got money. I'm losing motivation, right? So I didn't climb to the next green grass pasture. But I found that it's a lot of this and then choice to go up again.
Yeah.
Because, and it gives you the confidence. I climbed that mountain here. Look how good it got.
Yeah.
If I just climb that next one, that'll be even better. But you got to subscribe to being uncomfortable again and risking it all to go to the next level. It's a video game in a way. It's a sport.
For sure, man. And I think that's why I love the gym so much, because it's a metaphor for life. It's a metaphor for business, all these things. And you may have seen it when we were walking through the gym this morning, but in my hand script above the dumbbells, it says embrace the discomfort. And like, it's this understanding that, again, a lot of my mantras or slogans are
what's for military, embrace the suck. Marines say something like that.
Something like that. Is that what it is, Phil? Yeah. Embrace the suck. Or whatever, pain is weakness leaving the body, right? Like things like that. But it's the truth. And it's like being willing to embrace that. And my friend, Dan Holguin, he has this concept that he shared with me, which was the top of the mountain is just the bottom of the next, right? And this,
exactly.
And this understanding of that. And if you can conceptualize that and welcome that, I think that's important. And it brings me to this thing that I've debated and had some discussions on the philosophy of it, of like why people start, why people don't start when it comes to business. And there's this default answer that people are like, well, I'm afraid of failing. But I'm open to the possibility that I think people might be more afraid of success than they are of actually failing. Because when you really boil it down and you strip it all away, so you go in and let's say you fall on your face and you fail, what happens? You go back to the life that you knew? Or you go back to the job that you were doing. Okay, yeah, that's hard, and what people might say or think. But I'm like, in some ways, I think the real scary part comes like, well, what if this works? And then I have to hire people, and then then I'm responsible for their livelihood, and then providing for their families, and all these other things that come with the success. I almost wonder that if subconsciously we're more afraid of success than we are failure.
I certainly believe there's a fear of the process and the fear of the unknown and being unequipped, because they don't teach you in school how to start a business.
No, they don't. Yeah.
Right. And many people are good in business. They had an entrepreneurial family member, that kind of taught them business, or they're taking over the family business because that's where they got the education.
Sure.
And they got the confidence. It's a lot of folks like me that didn't have the education or the entrepreneurial family that don't get started because they don't know what to do. I really hope to simplify that business is simple in the beginning, because you don't know what you need to do.
Yeah.
You have a vision and you try to execute on it and create value while doing it, and do what you say you're going to do, and answer the dang phone. You do some of that, you're going to get an answer to people value this. There's plenty of good products and services and good entrepreneurs that fail, and it wasn't even their fault. They maybe were too early. It wasn't a good time. It wasn't that you sucked at it or your product was. There are other X factors. There are things that just don't happen. You just didn't get something right. But it doesn't mean you quite failed. And it's also understanding what failure looks like to you. Most people are fear of, oftentimes you kind of do have to go all in on business, right? From time to money to risking relationships and other things, and the fear of the unknown and figuring things out, I think is definitely creates a lot of anxiety. Hindsight's 20/20, right? I had those same things, but I just pushed through. Inspiration maybe helped me do that. Desperation probably helped me do that. But it is easier than you think, and it is easier to be successful than you think. The biggest challenge is getting started and having the purpose and the passion to keep going. Because if you do good long enough, there's a very high chance, much more than not, that you'll get where you're going. But if you don't try, you won't know. And if you don't ask, you don't get. And if you don't put if you don't put the time in, you won't get the results. Oftentimes, if you trust yourself, if you believe in yourself, do I believe I'm going to let this fail? Do I believe I'll wake up when no one's telling me to wake up? Will I go to work when no one requires me to go to work?
Right.
Will I write the check when nobody writes the check? If you believe in yourself, and you've had a track record of like when you believe in yourself and you believe that you're a bankable person, then bank on your dang self.
Absolutely.
Don't ask somebody else. That's the other thing. A lot of people ask so many other people to bank on them.
Yeah.
And too early.
Yeah.
Make yourself bankable first. Prove the concept. Prove to yourself you got it. And then you're worth more. You got to, and once you prove to yourself you got it, many others will be more interested and the deal will be better. But a lot of people come up with a great idea and then they're like, I just need to get that $1 million to get it off the ground. you know? Well, you're never going to get it started. Not many people are going to take a chance on your idea if you won't do it.
Sure.
You know? And oftentimes when I like to invest in things, if I'm going to invest in a business, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to go be involved in it as well.
Yeah.
Even when I invest in these other businesses, I'm going to join the board. I'll take a job with them. I'll take a role. I'm going to contribute to try and make sure, because that's what I know is if I invest in a business and I believe in them, I also know I'm going to do everything in my power on top of it to protect my investment, to protect them, and give it to it. And if I don't believe that or I don't want to do it, I don't do it.
Sure.
Because I know that that's an X factor to it.
Yeah, and it circles back to that investment conversation again, and it starts with self. I could talk about this endlessly on this podcast of the importance of investment into self, and you know, what are the things that you need to be doing to be the version of yourself that you need to be? Because I've adopted this idea that when and where I fall short in life, in an effort to not be a victim to external circumstances, I choose to view things that if I fell short on a goal, to take the extreme ownership, I go, well, okay, that means that I'm not yet the man that I need to be to have achieved that. So I have more work to do. I have more skills to acquire. I have more relationships to make. I have whatever it is, more things on my personal non-negotiable list, because then it keeps it on me, and it keeps that extreme ownership, which I think is important. And you know, the fear that's faced in entrepreneurship or business, that's scary, but you know what scares me more, man, is being on my deathbed and a whole list of shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and wishing that I would have invested into me and bet on me and chased my dreams. That scares me more than going bankrupt or failing or any of that. And I just think taking that risk and taking that first step is sometimes the hardest. But to your point, you're like, it's really not that complicated. And sometimes it's just starting and doing some
that's
really
that's hard.
Really
that's complicated.
Things.
It takes risk. Takes gravitas. You gotta believe in yourself. You gotta do it.
Yeah.
Your chip on your shoulder. I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm gonna make this happen. Have a little attitude about it. Get a little spunk to it. That's where that inspiration kind of adds a little attitude to it. Like, I'm gonna get this done.
And then stacking up the evidence, right? Because you know, it's like, to your point, like, well, you have to believe in you and you have to invest in you in order for people to want to invest in you.
Traction's great at that too. I mean,
sure.
It has tools to help you look back. What did you accomplish? Because you might have been, man, where did the year go?
Yeah.
And I'm still feeling uncomfortable and the business is not struggling, but you look back like, wow, I made some progress. I really got a lot of ththings done. Imagine if I did that again next year.
Yeah.
You know, and having that ability to get outside the business and look at it from a 1,000-foot level and what's going well, what's not going well. Did I achieve my goals? Traction helps you take your 10 years into 5, your 5 years into 1, your 1 into quarterly, and you start chipping away at it. You know, you can't just get to the goal right away. Sometimes goals are big and hard to get. You can't just accomplish them right now. They'll take many accomplished goals to accomplish the goal, right? There's goals along the way to hitting that goal and breaking that big goal down into pebbles so that you can get there, right? And in Traction, they break your goals down into quarterly goals. And our goals need to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So that when we set a goal, we won't make it a goal unless, is it specific? What's the measurable? Is it attainable? Do we all agree it's attainable in this time period? Is it realistic? And what's the time period? 90 days. They have to measure that. And then we have no excuse. We all agreed up front, we can do this. And Traction requires a 90% adherence. You have to hit 90% of your goals every quarter. You have to. You're required to. If not, it'll go on the issue board and we're going to discuss why. We're going to get it back on track and figure it out because it has to be done. That organizational traction system is the lifeblood. It's the heart. It's the lungs of any of my businesses.
Sure.
There's so many purposes of it. I'm going to probably bring it up 4 more times today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, one of the things that I've struggled with personally is this constantly feeling like it's not enough. It's not where it needs to be. It's moving too slow. And so I really have to force myself sometimes to, you know, like you said, take that 100-foot view.
That's a great issue board for your team.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like enough. It's not going fast enough.
Yeah.
It's too slow. Break that down. How do I fix that?
But
what is too slow? What's right? Measurable.
When I zoom out though,
when
I zoom out, I realize how sometimes that's not accurate.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, I'm like, oh wow, like, well, look at how far we've come in 5 years, you know? And so I'm my struggle is I don't do a very good job of,
it's important to smell the roses and
Yeah, man,
pat
that's
yourself
the
on
hard
the back,
thing.
celebrate successes, celebrate hitting goals, celebrate milestones, celebrate why you're doing this when you hit your key achievements to remind yourself and your team, man, we are doing it. It may not feel like it all the time, but
For
we
sure.
did do it, and let's memorialize it.
Yeah, one of my toxic traits is being like, meeting a goal and be like, cool, but
Next, right?
but it could have been, and so it's, it's finding that balance, because I also don't want to like, and I also don't want to turn into this like weird thing of masturbation where it creates complacency either, because I also feel like that complacency probably kills more businesses than risk does. And
This watch
yeah,
is a result of a goal.
so is this one.
And it's an old watch. It's the Rolex Presidential, $50,000 watch. I set a goal, and my reward was, what's my favorite carrot? What's the carrot that's going to get me to keep running, right?
Sure.
I wanted a gold Rolex.
Yeah.
Just one. Just wanted one.
Yeah.
So the goal was, if I hit $1 million in sales, I'm going to buy myself a gold Rolex. And that I would use things like that, from exotic cars to a new house to something, a fancy vacation, with no exceptions. If I earned it in the time frame, I get it. I'll buy it. And it made me feel good. It made me remind myself why I'm working so hard or what I'm working towards, because I was using it. I knew what motivated me. Things that if there was something I really wanted, I wouldn't buy it, because I knew the power of like, what if I got that only if I did something for myself? Then I would feel good about spending money, on stupid stuff, right?
That's funny.
Like when, buying a Rolls Royce. I bought a Rolls Royce. I bought a second home once, using it as a goal. I'll only buy it if I achieve my goal in the time frame I set, or it's off.
Yeah.
And then I'm really excited to get to there, and then I'm really excited to do it, and I don't feel bad doing it, but I found what motivated me to get there. What was the number one tool I could use to get me to achieve my goals? And then I would find out the team members on my team as I got bigger, what is your carrot?
Yeah.
Because I'll give that to you too if we get it.
Sure.
What's your carrot? All right, we all have the fucking carrots.
Yeah.
They're non-negotiable. You will get it or you will not.
Yeah.
We will hit it or we will not.
Sure.
We will be sad or we will be pumped.
Yeah.
Let's go get it.
Yeah.
No failure. Can't be defeated style.
Yeah.
And using a carrot.
Sure. Yeah. I think having those landmarks, I think, is helpful. And it's funny you say that, because I did the same thing with the watch that I'm wearing. And I loved the Breitling Super Avenger forever. And dude, for like 6-8 years, every time we'd go to Vegas, I'd go to the Breitling store and I'd try it on and I'd look at it and I'd smell it.
I'm gonna come get you, dog.
And it got to the point where the people in the store
Don't go nowhere.
the people in the store recognized me. And like they would always be like, because they'd be like, well, why don't you just get it? I go, because it's not time. And so it got to the point where I'd come in and they'd remember me, and they'd be like, is this the weekend? And I was like, nope. But it was just an exercise for me.
Funny thing, I did mine on layaway. I knew it was coming. I saw at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get there. I'm almost there. I will though. I see it. I projected it.
Sure.
So I went in, put a down payment on it, and I think it was about 4 months. I laid away.
Yeah.
I did layaway where I paid payments installments. So he wouldn't sell it because I'm like, I'm gonna get there. Don't
Yeah,
let
you
it
didn't
go.
want it to
They
disappear.
were hard to get. But I was like, so I put a little down payment on it out of my own pocket.
Sure.
I was gonna have the company buy this for me. But I put it out of my own pocket knowing the company's going to reimburse me because I'm going to get it. I'm a month away, 2 months away. But I ended up putting this on layaway with the jeweler.
That's funny.
And when I got it, I came in and cashed it out.
So mine, I kept in the case. I didn't do anything like that. And I was hearing rumors that they were going to do away with the Super Avenger. And I knew that. And I knew that was coming. But I was like, nope. I was like, because again, I had this goal. And like, so for me, it was like, it's less about, I have like an expensive luxury watch. It's less for that than me. But like this watch, like it's a trigger device. It's a reminder to me of like the work that I put in.
This is everything to me.
Yeah, it's like
I have a few watches now. I wear this when I'm in business mode.
Yeah.
This is that watch.
It's a trigger device for you. It's a reminder of like what you're capable of.
Yep.
And to our point earlier, it's this.
And what I've done. A lot of people in real estate, it's vain.
Sure.
You have, you earn certain things, and you can see it on some people. Having lived in Miami for 10 years, people are pretty affluent, and they put their successes on them,
Sure.
right? Or drive them or
Sure.
live in them, right?
Right.
You can see some success, right?
Yeah.
And in real estate, the gold Rolex, or in business, the gold Rolex is a milestone. There's always a story.
Sure.
Ask anybody who has the gold Rolex. There's a business story behind
Sure.
it. I've never failed on that.
Yeah.
Anytime I see one at a bar or I'm on vacation, I ask. It's always a business story. It's always a milestone. Tiffany knows that well. Tiffany does a lot of high-end luxury awards, like the Super Bowl things, and they knew part of the business is fine jewelry is often a celebration,
Sure,
or a reward.
Yeah.
And they know that, and that's why there's always a story with things like this. And I actually like to talk about the story.
Yeah, and I think that, and again, that's the point I'm making. That's what matters. It's the story.
I want you to bring it up.
It's not the
nice
watch.
Where'd you get it? Let me tell you about it, man.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah. Let me tell you
how I got this.
Yeah, let me tell you the 10-year journey to this watch for me, because that's what it represents for me.
Yep.
It's not about how flashy I can be or anything. It's like, it's what it means to me, and that journey. And there's
when
this,
I put it on, it's like buttoning the Superman suit.
Yeah, man.
You know, it's like it's the final piece to my uniform for business war, right?
Yep.
It's like putting the gun in the holster for me. When I put the Rolex on, all right, so it's time.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And I think too, it's a connection to manifestation. You know, what you did when you talked about like sleeping in your car and like brain dumping this, your essentially your vision board of like what the plan was, what you were dreaming about. None of that means anything unless you start stacking up the evidence that you are exactly who you say you are.
Yep.
And I think having those little landmarks, or those carrots as you put them, I think that can be a helpful thing as you go through this, because it's something to shoot for, and it's goals. It's no different than the gym. Like we said, if we just go in with no objective and it's just exercise for the sake of exercise, like you're not going to have the same progress you would have. Whereas if you put something that was like ahead of you, that was objective and quantifiable to some extent.
I'm doing it again now. That's why I'm getting back into business. 2 new carrots on the board.
So you had shared that with me, and I would like you to share that with our listeners and our viewers. But I want to preface it with this: that there's this there's a weird stigma that goes towards people like wanting to talk about the things that they want, right? And I'm like, I come from this angle of like, look, I can't take money with me. I have some really big financial goals in my own life. My motivation for that is that it gives me options, and that it gives me a sense of freedom. And then, yeah, it's nice to have nice things, but I can't take any of it with me. And I understand that. But while I'm here, it can be a really rad tool that can help me live the life that I want, build maybe some generational wealth for my family. But even more than that, dude, like bless people. Like that's what's like even from where I'm at now.
Bless yourself. Bless your family.
Bless your family. Bless yourself. And like
and what's the blessing to you? Some people it's charitable donations. Some people it's paying for the kids' college. Right?
Yeah.
What's that blessing to you?
Sure, figure that out.
You
right?
know, I don't have those kids. Right? I don't have kids.
Right.
I chose that because I have a lifestyle that I was in that vision board, that 7 pages, right?
Sure.
And that lifestyle was to be retired young and not need to work, and to live that like movie scene life where you can just pack up and go and do whatever you want.
Sure.
All within your means, right? But
yep.
So for me, I knew early money was a motivator, and if I harnessed things I wanted I would go get it. And I have a very good track record of getting the things I want when I go get it, when I really want it. And I really wanted that IPO to go well at Renter's Warehouse, and it didn't. And I'd already had some ways that money was going to be spent.
Sure.
As part of the dream lifestyle that is just a little bit missing, right? I have a dream lifestyle. I have what I want. And I accomplished my goals that I wrote down in that yellow notebook.
Yeah.
And having been retired now 11 years, I've kind of had a lot of thoughts about like, I'm kind of bored. I don't have meaningful work. I don't have purpose. It's kind of fine not having much to do. It's also like boring, depressing in a way. You don't have like meaningful activities. You're not learning anymore as much. And so for me, there's some carrots that I wanted, and I keep complaining to myself that I don't have them, and I want them, and I look at them on the internet, and I was like, making smart choices. Don't buy it. You gotta go get it. Like I use it for myself. If you want it, come over the goal, then hit it, then go buy it, and you'll be happy. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's that a villa in Italy and a plane to get there. 2 new carrots that were missing before. I never had those carrots. I had what I wanted. There's 2 things that I just really badly want: the ability to afford a plane, not only to purchase it, but ongoing, and to get to my beautiful Tuscan estate, and learn to cook Italian food and not have the stresses of work.
Yeah.
And I can do all that probably right now, but it would put some future things at risk. And maybe the money I leave behind for my family, I'd be almost selfish blessing just myself and not others.
Yeah.
When I could probably maybe put my energy, my skills back to work, use these as carrots to accomplish some goals, level up. This dream, I got the dream life. What's level 2 of the dream look like for Brenton? And for me, that's those two things.
Do you have a timeline on that?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 years to create the cash flow, because I have the funds to purchase these things. 2 years to create the cash flow to support it.
Yeah.
On my own. Take that $3 million, invest it in myself, take the cash flow from that, buy the two things missing.
Sure.
Instead of using it. Instead of using the cash and having no cash flow. Go take that cash, make some cash, use that cash to buy those things.
Yeah. No,
It's when you have money, it's a lot easier to make more money. And I've never embraced that. I've decided to take very conservative approaches. Most of my stuff for a long time was in muni bonds, tax-free, steady income, no risk.
Sure.
Live off the interest. I've taken a portion of my portfolio, a significant part, and I'm putting it in a high-risk bucket, Brenton bucket.
Yeah.
And in order to achieve some stellar, more risk, more reward.
Sure.
Another cliche, but that's in many cases true.
Yeah, it is.
And so I'm going to take more risk with some of that money to try and achieve some more reward. And that reward is those two carrots hanging in front of me in that time frame.
Cool. You know, being a baseball fan, right? It's like, to your point of, once you have money, it's easier to make money. It's like, it's not hard to hit a home run when you're already on third base.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But that's a little unfair because the work's supposed to be done, but you've got the capital and you've got the things that make some of those processes.
It gets a few things out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes things a little easier, but it also complicates things.
For sure.
I'm also missing things from that past Brent, that had passion and desperation to harness.
Yeah, to your point, your back isn't against the wall like it was then. And so you have to figure out a way to kind of create that.
Yeah. Get uncomfortable again when you're really comfortable.
Yep.
Take some chances, put some things at risk, calculated risk.
Yeah.
And that's why it's super calculated for me.
Yeah.
This is what I'm good at.
Sure.
This is how much money. This is the time frame.
Yeah.
This is how I'll go about it.
Yep.
All right, go.
Yeah. No, man, I appreciate you sharing that. And, because I think there's probably people out there that'd be like, he's already got all the success I've heard about, and now he wants a villa in Italy and
who doesn't?
I'm like,
you want one?
Yeah, I'm like, exactly. And I'm like, and what a pompous prick. I'm like, man, like, get out of here. I'm like, it's like we all have those things that we want, and the thing that and all the conversations I've had with you.
See, it wouldn't be pompous for me. You probably wouldn't even know I had it. It's just for me. It's what I want.
Well, and I would say the conversations I've had with you even before this, like, if God gave me anything, he gave me a pretty good bullshit meter on people and vibrations. And if after my first meeting with you, you said like, hey, what's your take on Brenton? I would have been like, he's a good dude, and I think he cares about people. And you already said it, like with your money, like, I don't have kids, but like, I don't want to burn it all because I want to leave some for my family. I want to bless other people. Yeah. And
I don't want the story to be many. I joke about it like, hey, when I'm on my deathbed, like, come hang out, we're going to blow it. But because that's how conservative I am up until it, like,
sure.
But no, really, I want the story to be like, man, he didn't spend any of it. Yeah. It's all here and then some, and he lived good. And so I'm trying to be a savvy investor and live off those things.
Sure.
Not put that at risk. And that's kind of like a non-negotiable. Don't touch that money. Any other money you come into, you can do dumb shit. You can spend it like an asshole on dumb stuff that's ostentatious but special to you, right?
Yeah.
But that's what motivates me. Many other things might motivate somebody else. For me, there are token things: the watch, the benchmark, and hitting that benchmark and getting the goal, right? So I'm challenging myself: spend that $3 million, earn $400,000 a year in cash flow from it, buy the jet, pay for the jet, pay for the house with the cash flow.
Sure.
And now your investment is giving you something you want, that you get the carrot. Once the investment performs at that level, I'll get my carrot. If I don't do it in 2 years, new goal. Got to put it off on the back burner, right? Maybe it's another year or you don't get it. It's got to be non-negotiable. Can't just keep kicking it down the road. If you didn't hit it, it should go away or try something else. That's how it's always worked with me. But I set rigid deadlines. I make sure they're measurable and attainable. I do believe it's attainable. I'm on track to attain it. A little behind schedule. First year was tough.
Sure.
I threw gas on the fire again. Yeah. And I did this time knowing I didn't expect an ROI.
Yeah.
But I did it, my first year here, I did $400,000 in marketing in Park County. It's a lot for here.
Yeah.
And I did that to make a coming out, put the brand out there, make sure we're known, we're here. Once you know we're here, I can start telling the story and build it up. But I didn't want to be trying to do that at the same time. The first year was splash and get the brand everywhere, let people know we exist. And now this year is executing on that. Now that people know we're here, now capture the audience, capture the customers, capture the clientele, capture the business.
Sure. Absolutely.
So we were very unprofitable our first year by design. And this year it's all by design, all about profitability, all about embracing constraint. Because I threw a bunch of gas on the fire and I got a fire. Now I'm trying to choke it out but keep it alive and milk it and optimize. So this year I have a very little advertising budget, not by choice. I'm embracing constraint, trying to optimize for cash flow now that I've got the engine running. How do I make it more efficient? But I really put a big jump start into the engine right out the gate, which is a perk of having some money to start a business.
Sure.
I took, I knew I was wise enough to know that this isn't going to produce income and I should count it as loss. Like going into the casino for me, sometimes I was just like, I'm going to go in here. This is what I'm willing to lose.
Yeah.
And when I lose it, I walk. And this is what if I hit, I'll leave, but I go in there knowing when I started my business, I go in there knowing I'm going to spend $400,000 in advertising and that's not going to produce a great ROI the first year.
Yeah.
It takes a long time in real estate to see a return on that sort of advertising venture. But now I'm seeing it, but I'm not spending it because the engine was started. Now it's kicking off and I need to capture it.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, I'm not trying to feed the engine no more. I'm trying to just keep it almost like perpetual momentum.
Yeah, you're being calculated about
I
it,
created
for sure.
momentum and now I'm harnessing it and making it more efficient in a sense.
Yeah. Cool.
That was part of the 2-year plan. Spend, harness, should drop the profit. And the last 2 months were our first 2 profitable months by design as expected, going as planned.
Cool. Awesome. I want to circle back to just quick touch on it. You had talked about the decision you had made to not have children.
Yeah.
Did you ever second guess that? Do you ever think about that, where you're at in life now?
When I met my wife, she was of the same mindset, and it was first date material. And we kind of hit it off and joked about that a lot because we both didn't want kids. We had this lifestyle we wanted, and we all came from large families where everybody else was going to have kids, and we wanted to just be the greatest aunts and uncles.
Sure.
I didn't really think about it. When I was younger, I did. I had this thing in my mind. I wanted to be a really young dad so that when they were 18, I was still like young and cool, and not an old dad that couldn't hang out with his kids because I'm physically ailing or whatnot. But I never thought about really I never had that need. Like I want one bad. I like kids. Definitely love my nieces but it's just that to me, it seems way more overwhelming. Seems like I have 3 dogs. That's a big commitment. Having 3 dogs challenges my life. I can't just fly anywhere,
Right.
And I have to have somebody babysit my dogs or take 3 dogs on a plane or drive across country. I just drove to Florida because of my 3 dogs.
Yeah.
So that it's a lifestyle change you have to commit to with a child for life.
Yeah.
I understand and respect all that goes into it. So much so that I don't think that's for me. And I'm fortunate enough my wife is the same.
Sure.
And sometimes you think about it, right? Like you feel like you're missing some legacy starts chirping you in the back of your mind. But then also then you do things like impromptu trips to Italy and you're like, I couldn't have done this.
No, you can't. Yeah. It creates some challenges for sure.
Yeah. And then dealing with healthcare issues on your dogs or your family, it's like, that's heartbreaking. Now imagine your little one.
I'll tell you what, that's the hardest thing about being a parent is when there's something wrong with your child or they're sick and they're ill and there's nothing you can do.
That powerless feeling you sign up for, I don't want to sign up for it. So I just understand and respect all that goes into it, and it just isn't for me. And a big part of that vision when I wrote that down many years ago was this lifestyle of like ultimate freedom, not beholden to anyone. Not that you're beholden to your kids, you're committed to your kids. And I don't want to make that big commitment. I want to make it to my nieces and nephews for a weekend and then send them back to mom and dad, and I really can be present and be there. I also know I've mentioned this in side conversations. I have a tough time with work-life balance.
Sure.
When I'm working, I work all the time, every day. Everything goes to the side. I can do long shifts and I want to work. And it's not that I don't want to be at home with my family. I just get fulfilled really quickly and feel sick being at work and getting things accomplished. And I also get great anxiety not doing it. I really struggle with time off because I know of the things I need to be doing or have to be doing and the goals that I want, and I end up doing it anyway. So I've always struggled with like finding mental health and time for my family while I'm in business. This go around, I'm trying to be better at it. And it's part of how I brand it to myself. Like, I didn't found this business. I'm investing in this business. It's a 2-year plan. It's not your life.
It's a season,
It's
right?
It's a product. It's a tool I'm using. Don't make it your life.
Yeah.
My wife, really put up with me those years in Renter's Warehouse of just not being present a lot.
Yeah.
Go home, eat, sleep, go to bed, wake up, do it again all day, every day. For years I did that. And that's what led to my burnout, no work-life balance. I really believe you have to have it. It's not a superpower to work like that.
Yeah.
It's a superpower to be able to be successful in business but have work-life balance. And it's really challenging. It's one of the challenges I'm still dealing with. And it sounds easy, but it creates a tremendous amount of anxiety being unproductive, sitting in my butt playing video games, or even on a Friday night enjoying a cocktail or something. Because in my head, with the ADHD, 100 things going that you should be doing, or, I forgot about this. It's really hard to unwind. When I retired, I went through a fit of depression because I lost my identity and my friends. They were my business partners, my associates, that I'm away from them now. They're not my everyday people. And then you had no meaningful work. And then you feel lazy, and then you have terrible anxiety. Like, shouldn't you be doing something? You slept in until 10 and you play video games all day. Like, it's a weird feeling to unwind that. You lose a big part of your identity as an entrepreneur when you sell your business abruptly like I did.
Do you wish that you would have...
It took me years to not have that anxiety.
Sure.
And then I had several good years where I got comfortable being retired, and then it came back in the form of, you need something to do. You're recharged, and it's coming back.
In hindsight, do you think there's some things you could have implemented, maybe especially in that last year before you transitioned out, of figuring out, or maybe even before that, to figure out, like, again, we use like work-life balance as kind of the title over that, but I don't know if it's as much balance as it is like it's just a kind of a game of chess, and that there's going to be seasons where, hey, I'm all in. It's going to be late nights. It's going to be these things. I mean, I've experienced that in my own business, and times where I can get away from it a little bit more and have more normalcy on schedule and things like that. But are there things that, looking back, you're like, oh, okay, I could have done this and prepared myself for that a little better?
Yeah, I screwed that up. I did take the time off, right? I was deciding to empower my president to CEO and move to Florida. But I had a purpose for that.
Yeah.
To sell the business. And I became blind to everything else. Don't use this time to recharge. Use this time to prove that the business doesn't need you, and sell it. What I really should have also been considering is rest, recharge, build these systems, keep this business, come back to it when you're in the right mindset, because I was over it. And if I had only recharged, if I had only given myself, I never took time, if I had only just recharged and came back to the business in its new form with the CEO, I would have 10x'd my wealth. I would have taken that to another direction. But I was so over it, and I was so blindsided. Again, I get really blind. When I want something, I go get it. It has to be done. No failure. It can't be defeated. And for me, I became completely blind to only things, sell the business, top dollar on this date. Instead of, I should have also been considering the why I was selling it was burnout, and that couldn't I cure burnout? And my cure in my head was just to sell the business. I could have cured burnout and came back to the business.
Sure.
And going into this business this time, I'm very aware of when I'm feeling burnt out. I take days off. I also am very aware of like my limitations now. Around 3:00, I get tired.
Sure.
And I shouldn't be on the phone. I'm not doing my best work.
You've established what your work capacity is.
I try to go home at 3.
Yeah.
I'll be available for phone calls and stuff. I go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I also know it takes me a couple hours to turn work off.
Sure.
And that 45-minute drive home, hour at home, answering a text or a call, and I can turn it off.
Cool.
I still need to do more work at getting balance. I'm still working way too much. I'm still putting things first that I shouldn't. That is my challenge right now. I'm working on that more than ever because I'm in a year into this 2-year plan, and I'm starting my transition plan here very soon to appoint a leader in my business, probably in October, who's going to start taking on leadership, visionary roles, mine, while I go to Florida this year for the winter.
Sure.
And test run 1. Start to distance myself from the business, start to withdraw from it, start to empower and delegate, and start to get closer to that 2-year plan is to be out, have the cash flow.
For sure. Yeah, this work-life balance thing, it's actually a discussion that Phil and I had when I had him on one of the episodes, and that was kind of the topic that we were trying to kind of unpack a little bit. And, for me personally, I actually talked about this in my presentation at our mastermind too, of this. I've got a flag hanging at the end of the gym in my hand script that says God, family, freedom, weights. And those are my essential, that's my order of operation for this life. Those are my non-negotiables that I will not put my business goals, my financial goals ahead of, because those are the 4 things that I need if and when I reach said goals. So my relationship with my creator, my family, right? Team Krubeck, that's the thing that matters most to me, right? And then freedom means a lot of things to me, but especially this reminder of free agency and the opportunity that I have to choose everything in my life, including how I respond to things.
You got
hopefully
work-life balance.
Hopefully.
I gave up God and family during the work years. I wasn't going to church. I wasn't going home to spend time with the wife. I wasn't hanging with my friends in my 20s. I wasn't drinking and partying and doing fun stuff and going on vacations. I gave it up. I lost my 20s. I gained something else, other things I value, but I gave up a lot in order to kind of short path.
Shorten the timeline.
Shorten the timeline to success. Give myself less things to focus on, more time to dedicate to one thing. I became just hyper focused.
And I think that's a theory that I've kind of come up with. I'm like, okay, if I have these non-negotiables, it may take me longer to reach set goals because I'm prioritizing those things. But I have this belief that in doing it that way, when I arrive there,
you just didn't prioritize one goal over the others. You have 4 goals.
Yeah.
God, family, weights, and business.
Yeah. God, family, freedom, weights.
Okay. Then they're equal. They're equal to you. They all must rise.
Right.
I put one up.
Yeah.
Right. And let these others go. Your goal isn't as simple. It's 4 goals. How do I keep these all in balance and grow all of these? How do I make every one of these more wealthy?
Yeah.
I want to be better with God, better with my family, better with weights, right? And that's the goal, is to keep them all.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got better vision on it. You've got better prep and planning. You also know what you want I think also as we get older, we start to know what we want, what's important. When I was in 20 and had nothing, all that was important was myself and my business.
Yeah.
Now it's not.
Sure.
Now it's different. I have different views. I've changed a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of these things along the way changed me. Retirement changed me. Moving from Minnesota to Miami to here changed me.
Sure.
Every one of those things I think makes me more dangerous and better in business and a better family man. I'm getting better. Some things aren't as great. I don't have the desperation and the passion to harness, or the inspiration even in some cases.
Sure.
But I have these other skills in these hard times to harness, to keep going.
Yeah.
I think it's great that you have those balanced, because I'm kind of jealous of it. I need to take note and maybe seek some advice from you on work-life balance, and maybe prioritizing and not just talking about it, but being about it and having things written down in front of me of how I'm and sometimes checking out of your business and checking in on those things to make sure that, have I spent enough time with my family? Have I hit the gym as much as I need to? Am I keeping everything in balance? I don't balance well. I get too hyper-focused. I must complete things now, and I get too much satisfaction from completion of things.
Sure.
And so I just go down one channel and start banging it out. And for me, I have to spread myself to work on all of those things like you are doing. And it's impressive you can do it.
Well, I think
it's discipline.
I just have this belief that if we can do those things, because those 4 non-negotiables for me, right? If I can hit those, it helps me be a better version of myself. So that then the better version of myself is showing up to work on the business, to show up for my clients, to be a better version, to have those conversations. And then again, it's
might, sports, it's training, so you can be good on Sunday.
Yeah. It might slow me down. It might slow down my eventual end goal.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because then I'm like, well, because what I don't want is and I'm not saying you did this, but I've watched from a distance, like other people. And there was a documentary called The Defiant Ones, which was about like Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre and these guys and all their success. And it was interesting to me because for a lot of them, there was an interesting wake of destruction behind them once they got to this massive goal. And I'm like, cool, you got that, but in the meantime, you lost your family, or you lost these other things. And so that's just not what I wanted. Because like, if and when I reach those goals, and I'm like, cool, I've arrived to the main goal that I set. Mm-hmm. Those 4 things that I've listed on that flag, like those are the things I want with me.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes the top of that mountain, or that green pasture that you mentioned.
Yeah,
that's what makes it more enjoyable for me.
Because if you get there alone and nobody knows you're there,
sure,
did it happen? You know. But yeah, I'm impressed by that. I wish I had that discipline. It's something I think about often, and I'm working on. I talk to ChatGPT a lot about work-life balance. I started doing time blocking and other things.
Sure.
Non-negotiable on my schedule sometimes. Like I'm in this stage of my career now, or if you want to see a house on Sunday, I take that day off.
Sure.
You can see one of my team members.
Yeah.
I don't work Sundays.
Yep.
Normally I would never give. I'm there, man. Right? Where do you need me?
Yep.
Right? That's the businessman in me. But now I have some non-negotiables. I'm creating this business with a stop and checks balance of lifestyle. Is this gonna create an imbalance in what I set out to do? Because part of what I set out to do was I've talked about what I was going to do, but also what I didn't want to do was lose balance.
Yeah. And
there are times for a week or two where I lose it, and then I'm very aware, and I halt, check yourself, go on vacation, just cut. You don't even want to, just go now, just because you screwed up. You spent 3 weeks at work and didn't come home.
Yeah.
You know, time for you to check, stop, restart, get back on track, do something you normally wouldn't do, to prove that you can balance.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll do when I get way off track, I'll do something like that. I'm so busy, time for a vacation. Right?
Sure.
I never would have done that. It would get me anxiety. Now I do it on purpose to punish myself. You didn't find balance.
To prove to
now you're going to have a
it.
messy vacation.
Sure.
But you're going to go do it.
You're going to go do it.
You're going to go take vacation and try.
Yeah.
You know, and just trying to force balance, be home at 3, don't work on, too late.
Sure.
Don't take them phone calls in bed,
and
don't get grumpy when you see a nasty email to your wife and you wake up. I have that. I wake up, you get a nasty email, and then you're mean to everybody all day.
Sure.
Because you're grumpy, you're short. I hate that. I'm very self-conscious of that stuff, so I very try to not let business influence my mental health anymore.
Yeah.
It's a struggle, but I'm
working
very hard at it.
That's a really tough thing to do, and I think like there's going to be times and there's going to be seasons where you kind of have to go all in, and it's going to be longer days. But within that, you can still have rules. Like, so one of mine is I always try to be home for bedtime routine with the kids.
Yep.
I heard this quote once. It was like, the only people that will remember you burning the candle at both ends are your children. And I'm like, so there's been a handful of nights where I get home for bedtime routine, and then I go back to the gym and keep working on what I was doing.
It's great.
But trying to have those things and those checks and balances within, I think it's healthy. And then again, with what I dedicate a lot of my message to is like, become the best version of yourself that you need to, and like that means taking an inventory on the things that serve you and the things that don't, and finding that. And I don't know if balance is the right word for it, but there has to be an appropriate equation.
As a leader, you need
get that.
You're the heart of the business. And if you have an unhealthy heart, if you're not well, if you're mentally unwell, you're burnt out, you're not doing it right, it impacts your whole culture.
It does. It's hard, man. And I've had those moments
everything
too.
You want to do harder.
I've had those emails or those interactions, and then that moment where something happens that was benign, but you react really poorly. And I'm like,
at Renter's Warehouse, I'm so blessed. I was such a wild leader during my 20s. I was emotional. I was high-strung. Stressed, I was outsmarted by everyone. Like, everything was a challenge. This was not something I was built for. I had to build it.
Sure.
And I had such an incredible team that was so patient, so down to ride with me on whatever I said, even if I was whatever. My team at Renter's Warehouse, like, there's most of them are still there. Like they never left. Many of these were their first jobs, and I had just some ride or die soldiers that stuck with me in my good and my bad days, my bad attitude. They knew when to not press me, and they knew when to press me.
Yeah.
You know, I just had being surrounded. Culture is underrated in business.
Agreed.
I learned that through Traction. It's the people analyzer tool.
Yep.
And it's where we hire and fire based on our core values.
Sure.
And that way we work with like-minded people, so it creates a culture. And you're the head of the culture.
Yep.
And you create culture, and you should hire and fire by it.
Yep.
And so we use tools like that. So I was surrounded by like-minded people I liked, people that became my friends. And we also all knew our roles through our accountability chart and what we were in charge of, what we weren't, what you had to do to know if you were doing a good job, and what metric would tell you if you were doing a bad job. So I didn't have to tell you. Like, they're having transparency. All that stuff is big about culture, and growing your business beyond one guy is to have that culture so that you can grow.
Yeah.
You can carry on your culture that was just you and make it a company, and that's not just you as the company.
Certainly. Well, because I mean, everything that happens like in the Barbell Club has my signature on it. So if I don't have people that can represent me, and the values that I've chosen, then it's going to create some real turmoil within my progress and what that customer journey is. So no, I hear
learning to delegate was tough.
For sure.
A long time, and giving people power. I never would let anyone pay anyone without me signing the check.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
No decisions got made without me blessing it. I had to get rid of that roadblock. I had to empower people to fail or succeed and let them shine or fall flat on their face. And if they fall flat on the face, they weren't a good fit. Get out.
Yeah.
If you shined and you lived and died by your own decisions, just like I do, making everyone even if they didn't own a piece, make them feel like they're an owner, invested in this business, invested in their role. They know what metrics I'm measuring them on to be, if you're going well or bad, and you'll know right away. It stands out if you're not succeeding or you're not a good culture fit. That Traction system pulls that out.
Absolutely.
It's like checking the pulse or checking your blood.
Yeah.
These weekly meetings, they're called L10 meetings. They're a way to check the pulse, the health of your business, what's going well, what's not going well, who's fitting into culture, who's not. There's a whole analogy, right person, right seat. Sometimes you find somebody's the right person, but he's in the wrong seat, or vice versa. And so these tools really help you detect problems, cure them, and make your business super efficient. But it really does stem with culture. Once I learned that, EOS came. I was probably 30 employees in, and before that came along, and they're like, "You've won all these workplace awards. Like, people love you here. And what's the secret to that?" I'm like, "I only hire people I like. Like, what about the most experienced? I really don't care. Their resume gets them the interview, and I don't use it after that. Mm-hmm. I don't even look at it in the interview. That's what got them there. Mm-hmm. Now it's just like, do I like them? Do I think they can do the job, or not?
Right.
And do I want to work with them?" And oftentimes I just hired who I vibed the best with. And if I really felt that they could do the job, because nothing I was doing was rocket science.
Sure.
I could teach you anything in property management to any smart person that was capable of doing it.
Yeah.
And so, are you capable of doing it? We call it GWC. Do you get it? Do you get it, what I want you to do? Do you want to do it? Do you actually want it? Do you like it? And are you capable of doing it? Because that's how I'll judge you at it. Do you get it? Do you want it? And are you capable of doing it? GWC. And if I felt you were GWC, you were hired. I'll teach it to you.
Yeah. I like that. So, man, we may have to have you on for another episode. But I'd like to wrap up this conversation with asking you kind of one more question to leave our listeners and our viewers with. And that is, what would your advice be to fellow entrepreneurs or people or business owners, however you want to look at it, that would like to achieve the amount of financial freedom and or success that you have? What advice would you give them? I know that you could probably give a whole hour dissertation on the things they need to be doing. I think we've probably touched on a lot of the things already, but what would be the advice that you would leave for someone that's new in business or entrepreneurship?
What's coming top of mind is some sort of investing in yourself. Don't look to invest in others. Invest in yourself. Whether it's in the gym, in business, or starting a business that you founded and you take a chance on yourself. take a chance on yourself, invest on yourself before you invest on other things. Try to do it at an early age. Understand that timing is never right. The money's never going to be flush until you take some of these chances. And the best chance, the lowest risk, is on yourself. If you have that belief in yourself, take a chance. Get started. Do it, even if it's a side hustle. I just rented a space to a guy that, shout out Ab Soroka Auto Glass. He's an inspiring guy to me. I remodeled a commercial building on Bighorn, that building that he's in. Bought that and flipped that with a real estate partner. And he wanted to be a tenant. He had built out his garage, pimped out his garage, and was doing auto glass out of his garage and also doing another job at Gunworks. He was taking a big chance, taking a big piece of space with me, signing a long lease, doing his own build out, getting out of the garage, quitting the job, and starting it on his own. Within like 6 months, he was stressed for a month or two, and within 6 months, he's hiring, he's pumped. I see all the toys he's got parked outside. He's booming. He's killing it. I knew he'd be great at it. I'm pretty sure I offered to invest. You know, when I meet people that got it and are in that stage, that's when I love to invest.
Sure.
Good ideas are abundant. Good executioners are hard to come by.
Sure.
I usually invest in the person. So, and I just love that, how I can just see it. I haven't really had him tell me, but I can just see he's having success. And he went all in, and he did it. And it was scary. And in quick order, I think he's feeling fulfilled. It can happen quick. And it's, as soon as you find that inspiration, that's the time. And many people wait too long. They got the mortgage and 4 kids. Those are X factors that need to be respected.
Sure.
Right? And many people make that decision. I got this good salary. I'm going to risk it all. I can't. They're being selfless and thinking about, I can take the risk, but my kids can't. And some people have that risk tolerance that will allow them to do that. Or they're doing it for their kids. They're harnessing the fact that if I fail, my kids don't eat, so I won't fail.
Right.
Whatever is that's where I'm talking about that inspiration, that passion. If you know you won't fail, if you know you're going to feed your kids, you know you're going to get it done, no better person to invest in yourself, no better time to start than now. And the biggest key to success in business is literally just get started. Just do it. Just start. Play it out. Half-time, side gig, play it out.
That's perfect, man. That's the mic drop I was hoping for, and I didn't pay Brenton to talk about investing into self, even though that's my message constantly, right? So I appreciate those words, and I've watched Zach and Kelsey go all in on that, and it's been exciting to sit back and watch that and watch them win. And I like watching people win, and right now I think there's a movement, and there's so many people that I'm watching, and friends that I have, and people that are in circles that I'm directly or indirectly connected with that are deciding to chase a dream. And I think just that importance of dreaming and seeing what you're made of, and because, man, life is short, and I think it's worthwhile.
It's super rewarding
to invest in yourself.
More ways than just finances.
100%, man. 100%.
There's an incredible sense of accomplishment just having a stable business.
Yep.
And it's easier than most people think. The hardest part is just taking the chance, getting started, getting off the bench and get on the court and go play. Give it a shot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Brent, thank you so much for your time. This conversation was wonderful. And again, might have to have you on again so that we can go down some more rabbit holes and hear some more of the stories.
You're a really great host. You got great cadence.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, you really let your words land. You're really articulate. You're going to have a bright future in podcasting.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Right now, the objective is let's just get some good information out, right? And let's spread the word. And like I said on episode 1 when I started this, selfishly, I'm doing this for me too, because talking about these topics and these ideas that are under the umbrella of personal development and becoming who we need and who we want to be, that's what it's about. So it helps it stay relevant for me while also hopefully sharing messages with others that are helpful and that can help them add more efficiency to their life. And I said in that first episode, I'm like, I'm not doing this because I'm like, I've got it all figured out, right? It's not like, hey, I've got all the answers. Listen to Luke. In fact, I fight imposter syndrome every episode that I come in to record, every single one. But it's like, that's why I'm doing it. And that's what qualifies me, is because I'm on the journey too. And so just getting that good information out and conversations like this, man, is what helps keep that.
Can you think
rolling.
of many people who aren't an entrepreneur or don't have that entrepreneurial spirit that found financial success? To get it in the corporate world, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's rare. It's long.
Sure.
It takes a long time to get it. You're on the check. There's no unlimited income in many cases unless you're a top dog.
Right.
Most of these flash in the pans, even if they've had minuscule success, are because they ventured out on their own. Entrepreneurship, I think, is the quickest and easiest and best way to invest money, time, energy. It doesn't matter, because I think it's the shortest path to changing your life. If money is part of it and solving your goals and having personal freedom, entrepreneurship is the cure.
Yeah.
It creates problems, but
does.
it also is going to solve some, and it's going to get you to another. It might get you to your dreams. But entrepreneurship, even if it's buying, even if that house, like you own a house and it's too small for you and you want to buy another one, keep it as a rental. Become a landlord. Start your own landlording business. Have your first rental. That'll change your life. Having a few of those will change your life financially. That can be and that's entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
That's being in business.
Sure.
Think entrepreneurially. Find ways to be an entrepreneur in your life, even if it's part-time. It will improve your life. It will change your life. It'll make you stronger, wiser, contribute to your community and your family in a different way, give you the means to do things that are special for you. Like pay for your kids' college education, buy that house in Italy or the plane that you want. Entrepreneurship, in my opinion, is the key to changing your life, and I fully embrace that.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. And it's a way to affect other people's lives too. You get an opportunity to maybe create some jobs, and that's how we build the infrastructure and make everything work better. So I couldn't agree more. So again, man, thank you for coming on today. I appreciate your time, appreciate your insights, your wisdom, and fantastic story. For those of you listening, we're going to put some links on the YouTube video where you can find some articles that have been written about Hayden or by Hayden. Or Brenton, excuse me, and give an opportunity to maybe to dive into his story a little bit more and see what he's about. So appreciate you guys listening and tuning in to episode 18 of the Progressive Resistance podcast, and very excited about this one and the conversations that we had, and looking forward to more conversations both on and off camera with this man. So thank you guys. Don't forget, subscribe, like, share, and as always, build the better you.